Hello and welcome everyone. I am so glad you've joined me today for the webinar, Introduction to LinkedIn and Social Selling. It's good to have you here. I'm going to ask that you grab a cup of coffee, cup of tea, glass of water, take a breath, and just relax for the next 30 minutes or so. This time I would like to remind you that if you register for updates at growbecause.com, you will receive emails of future webinars and announcements of those webinars and events scheduled. Let's move forward, shall we? First, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Charlene Burke, and my claim to fame is that I am an introvert who has survived working in an extrovert world. I say that because my work and business story begins there. My education began with a couple of degrees in business and marketing, and immediately out of college I started working in for-profit and nonprofit positions, primarily in administrative jobs. And because of that, I found myself struggling because those jobs required that I deal with intrusions and interruptions, constantly battling outside noises, surrounded by other people, when in all honesty, I prefer to stay focused, finish the task at hand, and I really do prefer a quiet environment. So after about 15 years of working in this world of extroverts and what I personally call chaos, I went back to school and I got my degrees in electronic engineering and robotics. I immediately found work as a field service engineer, and for about 10 years, thoroughly enjoyed being a high-tech mechanic. I was working on automated systems, training operators and customers how to use and maintain their equipment. Then I got laid off, and it was back to the corporate world for me. And as a design engineer, I loved designing mixing systems for customers like Valero Oil and other oil refineries. But you see, I was back in corporate world, and that meant I had to deal with constant interruptions from the telephone, working with customers and other engineers. At this time, I also tried my hand at being a manager, and I laugh now, but with no training and a firm belief that people should know what they should do for their job, it turns out that that's not a good view for a manager to have. I found out that a manager really is the one who's supposed to make sure other people are doing the job they're supposed to do. Well, finally, I had enough. With the full emotional support of my husband, I pushed through that fear of going out on my own, and I founded Search by Burke. This was in June 2008. Well, the first thing I learned is that an introvert engineer with no training in sales can't build a business without sales. And thank goodness for social media. I am not kidding here. I've been on LinkedIn since 2006, where I had set out to get to know my network of connections. I participated in conversations, and I grew my network. Then I found and joined Facebook in 2008. Initially, it really was for personal reasons, and then I learned I could use it differently. Then Twitter came along, and then other platforms that were industry-specific and where my customers hung out. And I joined all of those, and my business began to grow. Slowly at first because of the recession, but also because my lack of sales skills. But guess what? My business did grow. Training professionals to do internet marketing is something I've done from the very beginning. So I decided to start Grow Because You Know to respond to the needs of individuals who want to learn internet marketing and how to use it to make money online. And that occurred in November of 2014. So, how successful was my use of social media to build my business? I can honestly say that for Search by Burke, 40% of sales for 2014 were generated from LinkedIn. Some were direct sales, most were referrals. I can also honestly say that for 2015, my sales have been slipping, and that's because, just like anybody else, I'm human, right? I got complacent. And I stopped focusing on LinkedIn and Facebook. Trust me, I've learned my lesson. I'm back to the daily practice that works for both LinkedIn and Facebook, And I've included a few other social media platforms. And already I am seeing an increase in my business. Now this is why I believe that social media can be used to build a business. Why? Because I did it myself. So today's webinar is an introduction to LinkedIn and social selling. I'll give you an overview of the platform, and then I'm going to answer the most often asked question I get when I conduct a workshop or a webinar. I'll cover a few rules. Yes, there are rules you do need to know. And finally, I'll share 3 things you can do today to help you use social media for your business. So first things first, what is LinkedIn? Well, according to them, and I have to agree to keep it quite simple, it's an online networking platform specifically for professionals. It has a mission to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. And that is the world's professionals, not just your neighborhood, not just your state, not just your country, but the world's. So let's look at a few stats. There are a lot of users on LinkedIn. 364 million as of first quarter 2015. That's a lot of people using LinkedIn. In the USA, the number has grown since mid-2014 to 115 million users in US. Out of those, 35% check in to LinkedIn on a daily basis. There's over 2 million groups on LinkedIn. I swear to goodness, if you have an interest, a market, a position, a problem, there is a group set up specifically to address it. Lots of places for you to get involved and get connected. And then the company pages. There are 3.5 million company profiles. I'm not saying you have to have one. I'm just telling you there are a ton of company profiles on LinkedIn. And it comes in handy to know this when you're prospecting. I'm going to let you think about that for a little bit as we move on to the next piece, which is HubSpot, of whom I think most of you are familiar with. HubSpot came about in roughly 2008. I think they were around a little bit before, but 2008, 2009 is when I started really seeing some output from HubSpot, and they've grown tremendously since then. According to their research, which I trust because they know what they're doing in terms of gathering online data, LinkedIn is by far the best social network for lead generation, the most responsive. Of all the traffic that came to the business's websites via social media that are involved in this survey, and numbers were followed, 0.98% of that traffic converted into leads. Now you compare that to 2.74% of the traffic converting into leads that came from LinkedIn. That is more than double. I can assure you that that is the average number, so you can go to any specific website that was involved in this survey, and we're talking almost 5,200 there. You can go to any one, and it's going to be anywhere from 1% to 10%, and all kinds of numbers in between because they took you to an average to make it easier for them to share the information. Personally, I just got to tell you, I love LinkedIn. I can look at my analytics today, and there's going to be a preponderance of referral traffic from LinkedIn. So that covers the basics of the platform. Those are the basics. I think that's all you need to know. If you need to know more, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to answer the question. But for right now, let's focus on that one question that I get asked in every single workshop, webinar, classroom, business presentation, just general conversation. Honest to goodness, sitting and having coffee and talking to somebody about LinkedIn, I get this question. So what is it? I have connections. Now what? Yes. That is the most often asked question that I get. And I have to tell you, it really doesn't matter how many connections the person has. I don't care if they have 200, 2,000. I know somebody who has almost 20,000 connections. There's a reason to do that. There's reasons not to. But anyway, Some people got on LinkedIn and began connecting with everyone just in case, you know, while other people have been very selective about who they'll connect with. And still others, they really don't care who they're connected with, but do want to avoid the fake profiles and spammers. And every single one of them ask me, what am I supposed to do with my connections? My answer, you are going to communicate with them. And you're going to do it in a variety of ways. Honestly, if they're local, you can invite them out for a coffee meeting. You can share the most recent trend information you have about the industry that they might find interesting. You may just call them on the phone and have a 30-minute networking conversation. That's where your focus is, by the way. It's on asking them about who they are, what they do, why they do it, if there's anything you can do to help them. Not in terms of your company or services, what truly do they need? Do they want an introduction to one of your connections? Are they in search of a particular product or service that you can refer them to or provide that information for? You know, you want to be of service. Why? Because you're building a relationship at this point. All right. So you're going to communicate with them in a variety of ways. And when I share this and share what I just told you, I get this response. Well, yeah, like, duh, of course. But how? All right. I'm going to give you a sneak peek into a little trick that has helped me to streamline my communications with my network and my prospects. And that is, let's get organized. Here's a screenshot of a portion of my connections. Okay? I want you to look here and you can see that there is an opportunity to tag. A tag is a way to organize your connections into groups. So as you can see here, I have all 3 people tagged as friends, and only 2 are additionally tagged as LinkedIn webinar. You can tag every one of your connections according to the type of grouping or heading you want them organized in. As you can see here, you can tag multiple times. And that way, as you can see, Michelle and Michelle belong to 2 groups. I have some that belong to 4 groups and 5. So why would you want to do this? It makes it easier for you to search for your connections that you have in a particular group. Before doing the search, you go to your connections, then the filter by, and select tag, and the menu to the side will show you all of your tags. When you select that tag, then only those connections in that group are put in front of you. So I did this here, and I did it with LinkedIn webinar tag. I want you to see that on top there, I have an option to select all, which I did. I also have an option to message. Now this is where it can get pretty darn cool. When I select the message, I see that I can send a single message to everyone in my group tag. Now I'd like you to think about this for a minute. I want you to think about how effective a tool can this be when you're nurturing connections. I've used this in a lot of different ways. In this instance, I've got a LinkedIn mastermind group that I moderate, and these connections are a part of it. So when it's time to remind them of a meeting, I simply search the tag and message the whole group. Another way is that I have a tag for recruiters. And when I have time to add sourcing projects to my workload, I send a message to all the recruiters that I'm connected with. Let's see here. Another way to use this is to share a piece of research that I found about an industry. You know, it might be that manufacturing has experienced an increase in its overall for the U.S. Okay? So I want to send it to everybody who is in my manufacturing tag. And I select them all, and I send them all the message about the research I found that I think, and with a little message about I think you might find this useful, or I found this to be interesting about the industry as a whole. How does this look for your industry, right? Now, having said all that, I want you to note that at the bottom of this, you can have the option to allow recipients to see each other's names and email addresses. It is only in this instance I have it checked so everybody can see, because it's all a part of a mastermind. They all know each other anyway. But if I were to send this to my recruiters group or to my manufacturing group, I would uncheck this. That way, I can write my message as if I'm writing to just one person, as can you. You're writing this to your prospect. You're just not using their name in the body of the message. And remember to sign off with your email signature: name, company, contact information. And the objections I often get is this: but this will take too long to organize the contacts I have. Yep, I've heard that one. The next one is, how do I organize them when they're from so many different companies? Let's see, another objection I've had is, I have multiple contacts from the same company. What do I do with them? My response, honest to God's truth, is, holy moly! Am I supposed to contact and nurture every single connection, really? Honest to God's truth, if you're asking that, and trust me, I know some of you are, then don't be surprised by my answer. And that is, you're already connected. Wake up. Consider this your wake-up call. This is your connections list. Many of these people fit one of those categories: referral partner, strategic partner, expert in industries, potential clients. The rest, it's up to you whether you want to spend time on them or not. But seriously, if you want to build your business based on relationship and you want to be better at social selling, you truly must have a clear picture in mind of who it is you're connecting with and why, and be willing to organize them and spend a little time to make it worth your while. There was your wake-up call. So now let's move forward. Let's get back to just being LinkedIn here, and let's look at a few rules, okay? You are going to follow the rules of LinkedIn. You will, if you want it to be successful for you. It is a professional platform. Acceptable sharing of information is that which is business, industry, or profession related. Whether it's your status update, an article, or a post in a discussion group, do not share personal information such as pictures of your lunch today, details about the concert you went to last weekend, your dog's illness, and please, your latest medical tests and results. Keep the sharing to something informative, educational, maybe humorous about your industry or your profession. Before you post or share, when you're on LinkedIn and typing, please remember that there's a person behind the avatar that you're typing to. The behind the screen name that you might see in a group or in your news feed. And think. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? You know, if that post matches any one of those 5 criteria, it's going to work. Because what you share is helpful, and that's the important part. The other thing I want you to remember as part of the rules is that what you share and post truly is a reflection of you. So be careful. So at this point, I'd like to do a quick recap. Let's take a breather with a sip of coffee, tea, or a little bit of your water, and do a quick review. To this point, we've looked at an overview of LinkedIn and why you should be using it. Okay, I'll answer that. The overview included, there's lots and lots of people there, your prospects are there, and it's a great place for a professional to be. How's that? Then I answered the most often asked question of, I have connections but don't know what to do with them, and showed you a really cool trick and gave you a tip that rarely do people share something like that. And then I covered a few of the rules about behaving yourself on the platform to make sure you present yourself and your information in a professional manner. At this point, I want to take a little break, and I want to tell you that all of these and much, much more are going to be covered in great depth in my upcoming virtual workshop. Now, that workshop is entitled Stop Selling, Start Building Your Business Based on Relationships. It is a half-day virtual workshop. the focus is on LinkedIn and Facebook, among many other things. We are going to go over your profile and make sure it's ready for visitors. We're going to look at who to connect with, how to find them, how to connect with them, and how to attract your ideal customer. We're going to go much more in depth about nurturing those relationships we discovered early on and what I alluded to on how to approach them. This workshop is the best of two worlds. I took my two most popular workshops, Facebook and LinkedIn, and combined the best of the two. The bit.ly link below will take you to the workshop information, and it is case sensitive, I found out, so please make sure to capitalize the S's and the B. So as part of the workshop, you will receive a social media authority checklist that helps you stay on track of what you're doing each day. My ebook, Social Media Authority, that has been read and reviewed by professionals who have no problem telling me that it's been very helpful for them to understand the variety of platforms out there and the rules of conduct expected on each platform. You will also receive a report that outlines the top 30 social media tools being used today that will help you to automate some of your social media activity. And you will leave the workshop with a plan of action that you can put to use right away. The plan will provide you with steps that you should take your first 30, 60, 90 days of using social media to build your business. So this URL, the bit.ly URL, includes a code that gives you 50% off the price. I usually charge individuals $697 to attend this workshop in person, and I've discounted it slightly for the general public. The 50% discount is from the $697. But I put this because it's moved from a physical location to a virtual one. It really reduces my cost of holding such a workshop. And in this instance, because you're attending or watching this webinar, I'm offering that 50% discount to you. Use the bit.ly address there in the middle. Again, remember it is case sensitive. And you'll be taken to the registration page. Now, in addition to receiving half off the price of registration, attendance will also give you 2 teleconferences with me to ask questions and review your progress. These will both be group calls. All attendees will be encouraged to attend, and I will be available to answer any individual questions and provide guidance via email for 30 days after the virtual workshop. All said and done, the value of each of these separately is the checklist, ebook, report, and plan combined, you'd spend $150. 2 teleconferences, $300. The individual attention via email, $150. 5 hours of personal attention in a workshop, minimum $697. So when we add this all up, the total value of this half-day workshop is actually $1,297. With this bit.ly link, you can attend for $297. Again, remember it's case sensitive. I encourage you to register today using that URL. If you have questions and don't want to register just yet, feel free to email me. Contact information will be provided to you after I finish the webinar. Now, I promised at the beginning that I would cover 3 things that you can do today to ensure your success when building your business using social media. So let's move forward with that. The first thing you can do is become the expert and that you can be the resource. Well, how do you do that? Well, you market yourself as the resource in your niche. You position yourself as the expert on different levels, by topic, by audience, by industry. That's where you've been targeting for your prospects. But this is where your information that you're sharing is by topic, by audience, and by industry. So the information that you're sharing should put you in a position of, my goodness, that person knows what they're talking about, or that person is very familiar with my industry, so I'm going to view them as someone who knows. Second thing you can do, I really encourage this, is ignore job descriptions and connect with them professionals because they can one day provide you with a variety of things. They can give you information vital to completing a proposal. It's amazing how many times people have told me they've tapped a connection and said, my gosh, I had no idea this was happening in their industry. They can give you a connection to the one person that will help you get your foot in the door of a company. But even better yet, when you're connected to somebody who is maybe they're an admin assistant or they're a receptionist or they're a gatekeeper for an executive in a company and they change jobs, suddenly they're in a different company and it turns out that's the company you've been wanting to get into. Isn't that cool that you already have a connection there? I thought so. And then there's always a chance that someone in your connections list can give you information that will help you land a sale. Just think about it for a second. Remember, those are people there. People with information to share. Most are willing to share it. Speaking of people, ultimately, please remember you are a person, so are they. When possible, take a connection from in-mail introduction to telephone to face-to-face. Have that sequence of events. It may happen over a period of days, weeks, or months, but have that sequence because people do business with people they know. Whether it's by telephone or face-to-face, you become more than just a profile or photo, as do they. Suddenly we are real people here, we're real connections. And I've got to tell you that if you have a higher priced product, you're going to need that face-to-face or telephone conversation. You know, nobody needs that level of connection and understanding and discussion and nurturing for a $5 product. But it's, I'm telling you, if it's a $500, $5,000, or $50,000 product, yeah, they need to be seen as people, need to be treated as such, and LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to begin that relationship at a level that can be grown so that they can trust you. So at this point, I want to thank you for your time. I'm so glad you joined me today. I am. I really do love LinkedIn. And I'm looking forward to seeing you listed as one of the registrants for the upcoming virtual workshop. There's that bit.ly link again. Check it out. Go to growbecause.com and register for updates. And what those updates are is you'll get an email every now and again about an upcoming webinar, similar to this one. Maybe an upcoming event. I might be live someplace, might be live streaming from someplace, might be an interview I'm doing with another professional, something like that. Might be connecting with another live event, because I have a few of those coming up this year. And you'll just get an email, you know, and it's that simple. Just a notification up to you if you want to come join us. Contact me at Charlene@growbecause.com. Connect with me on Twitter. Yes, that is my phone number. Feel free to give it a call and say hi. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Absolutely. I don't know how much easier I could make it. It is my name, Charlene Burke. If you look me up just in general search, look for the gal with the purple blouse there. And then on Facebook, you can go like the Grow Because You Know page. A blog about business and social media, how to build a business, a variety of ways to build a business, especially an online business, are all types of information available on my blog at www.growbecauseyouKnow.com. Outside of that, once again, I'm so glad you joined me today. I do love talking about LinkedIn. Have questions, connect with me and ask. And until next time, enjoy your coffee, enjoy your tea, enjoy your water, and have a great day.